She's gone through some insane ordeals herself, and being Miss USA, and then getting caught doing drugs, and the big drug scandal. And Donald Trump was her boss at the time. I was in a band called Little Red Radio for a while. I helped my buddy Sonny Moore, who's Skrillex, with a bunch of stuff when he was in his solo project. My mom was in and out of prison like more than 75% of her life.
What did you do for Ellen? I'm trying to
two pair of pants, which are weird because they were drop crotch pants.
Welcome to another episode of Icon Presents. Today I am joined by the international drummer turned celebrity fashion designer. Ladies and gentlemen, Icon Presents Eli James. Welcome, Eli James. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for joining me all the way from Los Angeles.
Yes.
Craziness going on in Los Angeles right now. You get to escape it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I got out.
Exactly,
just for a sec.
While you could. But thank you for joining me. So I'm looking forward to kind of diving into the world of drumming turned celebrity fashion designer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not a blend that you see all the time, but I've had the opportunity to look to check out your story. So this is going to be a fun one for the people.
Awesome. Cool. All Sounds
right.
good.
So let's start off with the drumming, obviously. Yeah. Take me through your story a little bit, how you got into that, your path. You had some connections with some pretty iconic bands, some pretty dope work out there.
Yeah.
So let's take us through.
Well, first off, I got very lucky with all that stuff. And there's a massive story that goes along even with music. But my dad was in a hair metal band in the 80s, and that's kind of where I got into it. But my course changed a million times. When I was a kid, I wanted to be in the NFL. I blew out my knee. Then I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Then randomly I moved down from Seattle to LA. I decided to be an actor, did a bunch of stuff with that. Then didn't really enjoy it on the business side of things.
Gotcha.
So I was like, okay, cool. So I jumped into sales and back into music. So I got my sales chops up, one-on-one selling and group setting selling, stuff like that. And then got back into writing music. And then from there, I met a guy named John Ryan, who is he produced like Styx, Antenna, Leonard Skinner, Doobie Brothers, like a slew of old school cats. So I was like, okay, cool. I went under his wing for a while. And then I just started going, okay, I'm going to dive into the drum world full force. And I mean, there's so much throughout the years, but dove right into that. And I was in a band called Little Red Radio for a while. I helped my buddy Sonny Moore, who's Skrillex, with a bunch of stuff when he was in his solo project back in the day. And then I just went. I was like, now this basically is drumming dude for every band. And based off that, I really kind of evolved and got my name in the game in ways, and got very fortunate and lucky. But I was just me, and I just did my thing. And a lot of the funny parts of it was the fact that I didn't know who the person was that I was actually auditioning for.
Oh, okay.
The Julian K guys, I didn't know they were Dead by Sunrise. I didn't know what Dead by Sunrise was. I didn't know what a band called Orgy was back in the late 90s. Yeah. They did a cover of Blue Monday. Right now, if you heard it, you'd go, oh yeah, okay. I remember. But I didn't know all that. So kind of my naiveness towards it was like, wow, this guy's interesting because one, he's really good, but two, he's not here for anything other than wanting to play drums and being a part of something. Same thing happened with Tim Skold. I didn't know he was in Marilyn Manson. I didn't know he was in KMFDM or Shotgun Messiah and all these other things. and we just hit it off as buddies, you know.
That's what's up.
So it went into that.
Connections.
Yeah, yeah, general connections, and we became friends before anything else. And it would always surprise me on like stories. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, who? Where are you from? And I never really just dove into it. I was just having fun and being a part of. And through that, I was like, you know, I want to make my own clothes based off the fact that one, I couldn't afford the cool clothes that I saw.
Right.
But two, I couldn't really find anything I liked. So
I got you.
I decided to start making my own clothes. And from there, it kind of took off. All my friends were like, yo, where'd you get that? And so, yeah, and, you know, one thing led to the next, and started diving into helping other brands and bands and in their merchandising space and needs. But yeah.
So one of those things that stuck out to me in that entire thing, it was like, if you go from playing football, public sphere, acting, public sphere, drumming, public sphere, all of these paths, sales, public sphere, all of these things that it's like, okay, cool. We're seeing a pattern where you're not afraid to be in front of people. You think that your dad being in the hair metal band, which is funny, I'm a bass player. I was just reading or watching a video with Scott. I forget what his last name is, but the bass player is Scott. He's like notorious, has biggest bass channel on YouTube. But him and the guy that he's always doing the videos with, they were like, are hair metal bands bass lines actually as trash as people make them sound? And I was like, what are you talking about? These are classic lines. These are great to do that. But do you think that affected the way that you approached life when it comes to being able to be put out there?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. And funny enough, I've never even thought of that, and it is a pattern. It actually, when I was in high school, I would move around a million times, and my childhood was really gnarly. But you know, when I did, I was the shyest person in the world. I would never want to get in front of anybody even through high school. Even like with football, I was too shy. But I wanted to do football. I didn't think of like the fame of it and fame aspect, but what really broke me out of that comfort zone was acting. You know, so the acting part of it, you know, after like 200 stage performances and theater trained and all that stuff, it kind of like gets you out of your shell. Definitely. And then from that, at least even in the band world, and sales was a hard one too. Like, oh man, like getting in front of people and in group settings, like it was always hard for me. But getting in bands, I'm like, I'm the back guy. Like I don't have to talk to anybody. I would love to sing. I just sound like a drowning cat. So I can't. So I'm like, okay. So it was always like that, you know, there's red carpets and stuff, but I wasn't really a fan of that, you know? So it's an interesting dynamic. It's a yin and yang. My personal thing is not like, hey, I want to be the star. Right. But I would love to create good light for other people. Right. Maybe going in, you know, whatever their life experiences are. And so I wanted to get myself in a position to be able to tell my story, to then relate with them, to help people get out of a funk that they're in. Yeah, 100%. So, once you've been able to conquer some of those things of like, when you take the aspects of sales, right? Yeah. Rejection all the time. Yeah. So many no's. Yeah. The amount of no's you hear are so much more than the yes, but the no's make the yes so much more valuable. Absolutely. Because you hone those skills in. Yeah. Right. Yeah. The unfortunate thing of blowing out your knee, I jacked up my knee playing football too. Oh, wow. Like I have my cousin always laughs at me. Yeah. Because he'll see me like trying to adjust or whatever like that, or I may complain a little bit. I'm like, oh man, my knee's messed up. Somebody be like, what's wrong with your knee? You know, I got that cartilage damage in my knee. Yeah. And it's like on my right knee, I got an x-ray done. There's a bit of cartilage damage in there that just causes swelling when it's overworked for that. And like, it's like, man, it's not the most comfortable position. And he sits there, he's like, man, Antoine, you're old. Yeah. Like, dang, man. Yeah, no, it's not that. It's like, I tore my ACL completely in half, and then all the meniscus. It was like a huge rip. So they had to take that out. And then I was on like just different medication to help try to rebuild it. Yeah. You kind of can't rebuild it as far as I know, but you're trying to, you know, but that's your bone on bone. Exactly. And so, I understand. The mentality to go from a injury like that and not to just give up and just retreat back into like yourself, your shyness or whatever it may be, but to say, hey, to go
and now I'm going to try getting into acting, is that it says something about a person when you have that mentality. And I think that's kind of admirable to kind of be able to accomplish that type of thing, to do that, and especially saying like the path that you're on now with, what is it? It's Ghost Circus. Ghost Circus Apparel, right?
Yeah.
Ghost Circus Apparel. Give me a little bit about how you came to like build that out. You know, you said, you wanted to get into like making some clothes because you couldn't afford all the cool clothes, whatever like that. And now it's grown to what it is. Tell the people a little bit about what you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for, I started making my own clothes within like, I think it was like, a month because of gratefully my friends and stuff like that. And I'm doing stuff for them. The kind of the word spread that I was doing stuff. And I was like, I guess I didn't intend to make a brand at all. I was just trying to do it for myself. But then I was like, I guess I need to make something. And when I was a kid, I have a million ghost stories, like a million of them. So I was really into it too.
Okay.
And so I was all about that. And I'm like, that's cool. And then at that moment, my life was literally a circus. Like I was juggling 7 jobs. I was touring all the time.
7 jobs.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was a barista, window washer, a construction guy. I did lighting and events all over. Like I can go down and down the thing, but I figured like if I have 7 opportunities while I'm in town, I can just hit them up and then 1 or 2 will come in and I'll just make that work and then go out on tour and then come back and do the same thing. And just built relationships. And then I actually applied that within the own business of Go Circus. But I started Go Circus and within the 3 months, Ellen DeGeneres to the Marilyn Manson camp was just like, I was making custom clothes for them.
Okay.
And it kind of like it was word of mouth. Everything was word of mouth. And I was like, okay, I think I have something here. And a buddy of mine, he owns a clothing brand called Blackcraft Colt. He hit me up like for 3 months. He's like, dude, we need a designer. We need a designer. We need a designer. And I was like, yeah, okay, but I'm doing okay right now. And then he was like, yeah, but I like, what would it take?
Yeah.
And so a deal happened and he's like, he thinks I know how to do all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
At all. I was like,
this is happenstance.
Yeah. It's just, I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure. Like cut and sew in LA, no problem. Like I can make designs. We can make it happen. I had no idea, but I took the opportunity and figured it out real quick, and got connections and pattern making, grading, cutting and sewing and all that stuff. And so I started doing stuff for them and then other brands and bands started coming along the line. So as much as I was doing stuff for Ghost Circus, I was doing stuff for other brands. So that's actually the time, 2016, when I created Ghost Circus merch.
Okay, gotcha. So that's how that's built out.
That's how that's built out. But I'm a one man show, right? So when you're starting a business and you're starting to dive into that, it's not like all the glamour and you have a million people working for you and then you can go vacation.
No, it's just more sleepless nights.
Yeah. More sleepless nights and you're actually doing everything. So on the fact of like Go Circus and then we're doing releases and drops and trying to figure out like with ads and stuff like that and how to learn that when you don't know anything about how to sell a shirt.
Yeah.
All the way to helping other brands and getting their visions to a reality and juggling both of them. So I stopped touring around that time. I couldn't tour then.
Oh yeah, something has to give. You're like you said, you're a one-man show.
Yeah, it was a one-man show for a long time.
Gotcha. So how long has the merchandise aspect of it? You said 2016?
2016.
So
2015 Go Circus Apparel, 2016 Go Circus merch.
Okay, got you. So not that far.
No.
So you did it within it. Well, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So now you have as we see right here, you have the Go Circus X10, right? Yeah. 10 years in the 10 game, years. Right?
Yes, sir.
Which is absolutely wild because, that time flies.
Oh, dude.
How would you say time, like things that are going on now, and everything that you've gone through now? Because I know it's been ups and downs and all that kind of stuff. Probably moments when you thought, I might just want to go back and switch things up or whatever. I hate that for you. What were those struggles like for you? And what have you learned?
Oh my gosh. You learn a million things, but it's interesting because the struggles are real and it's just trying to adapt to them. Like, do you know how many times I'm like, I got to get a get real job. I got to get a get real job. I got to go back. I got to get real job. And gratefully at those times, my wife was like, I know you.
Yeah.
You would hate that and life would be horrible. And I'm like, you're right. And, more and more time, you're just like, one more day, just one more day. Just one more day. Don't. And then next thing you know, something big comes in. You're like, okay, I could breathe a little bit. And then you keep going. Especially when you're a solopreneur and like doing everything. And it got crazy. But I just think focusing, focus is a big one, and follow one course until successful.
Yeah,
it's like literally focus and trying to dial that in first, because I did the two for a long time. Actually, it's funny. We could kind of go over this if you want to play along. Is just to explain, because there's going to be a lot of people that were like, "Oh, I'm doing really good. Let me start this other thing and let me diversify." Well. And I should probably time you, but if you could count from 1 to 26, people usually do it pretty quick, maybe 4 seconds, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Great. And then say your ABCs all the way from A to Z. It takes about 4.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, when you try to say A1, B2, C3,
I get your point.
and then you're like, wait a minute, these are two different things that you're juggling at one time. It's the same thing if you're trying to do this and then you think you're at a point where like, oh, okay, I'm going to try this other thing too, and just, be what the big guys are doing. It's like, no, time out. Don't make moves like that until you make 10. If you make 10 million and you're rocking, in my opinion, you're rocking and rolling, then you can kind of diversify if you have somebody else that can help you run it.
I get you. That makes me think of some things.
Yeah.
I've struggled with that myself personally. Like when it comes to like building out, because trying to get into, and they like even with Icon, man.
Yeah.
There are so many different paths that we would take with different things in the early stages.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're doing podcasts, but then you're also doing these different video projects. You're doing all this kind of stuff, and when you don't have a focus point to put that energy into, you're like, okay, what are the feature pillars? Like, you don't, not to say that, hey, we only sell one thing, but you establish what works for you.
Yes.
And you focus on that.
Yes.
And so that's why, like, some time back, we decided, hey, you know what? One of the best things that works for us is our podcast production.
Yes.
Podcast production, marketing, and all that kind of stuff with it. And so, but we didn't have a in-house podcast that we would do. We had tons of podcasts that we would produce for other people.
Yeah.
Some influencers and all that kind of stuff that people don't even know that our name is behind, that we were actually the ones producing their shows for it. And so it's like it's an amazing thing, because it took us some time to kind of learn what the strengths are and what actually, like, you're gonna try some things, the things are gonna fail, but you got to be willing to adjust. And then once we honed in on it, and the Icon Presents podcast was born out of that idea of it, and focusing things. Now we're moving into a phase where people are now coming to us, kind of almost like you did with Go Circus Apparel.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I built Icon Presents. We took our channel to 50,000 subscribers within a year. Yeah. It's like, yo, that's some mad work.
That's amazing.
That puts a lot of work in there. It's like, hey, that's where the advertising and all that kind of stuff, all that type of stuff comes into play. But then now you have people like, hey, cool, I want to shoot this type of podcast. I want to do this one. I want to do this one. Now we're like, hey, we can do this for other people, in a sense of not just producing their podcast, whatever like that, but establishing a podcast network. Yes. Where we're saying, okay, cool. That way, when advertisers and different people, which this probably feeds into what you have going on as well. They're like, hey, cool, we can advertise on this podcast, but not only just that one, on all these other ones as well. Yeah. To do so. But just kind of when you realize, when we honed in on our focus on what actually really worked for us, the opportunities and the growth were significantly stronger and more substantial for that. And it's like, okay, that's it's learning the entire thing. It's funny because I keep looking at your shirt and I know it's a Go Circus thing, but all I can think of is ICP.
Yeah, right? This guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I went through a phase, man. I don't think anybody really knows this. I've never told anybody this. Yeah. I don't even think I ever told my wife this. She doesn't see this. I went through it. I don't even know. My wife is pure. I'm almost positive she doesn't even know what ICP is. What? And so, like, so when she sees this episode, she's like, "What's ICP?"
What is that?
And she's gonna Google it. Yeah. She was like, "What?"
Yeah, we won't tell you here. You go Google.
Yeah. I had a friend. We would sit in class listening to ICP, and if anybody doesn't know what ICP is, Insane Clown Posse, and Eminem.
Yeah, Eminem. Oh my gosh.
Eminem and ICP. That
When
was
he
kind
came
of
out.
and Kid Cudi.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was like around
Dude.
that time frame, and early Drake years and all that kind of stuff. That was like, so that we had a playlist that would go from one to the other. That was actually wild. I just thought about that. But so you had mentioned your wife.
Yeah, yeah.
And your wife is a pretty substantial person.
Yeah.
The out there. Does she help you when it comes to the business? How do you guys kind of help each other when it comes to that, to operating all these things that you have going on, especially if she's encouraging you to take on these new risks?
Yeah. So she by far the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life, for sure. And then our daughter, of course. Oh, yeah. But she's gone through some insane ordeals herself, and being Miss USA, and then getting caught on doing drugs, and the big drug scandal, and Donald Trump was her boss at the time, and all this stuff, and then putting all of her skeletons they're all out of the closet in front of everybody. Yeah. And and there's a lot of gnarliness coming with that. So she's been through an amazing amount of stress herself, and understanding like life and everything. So I think at the end of the day, it's mainly about support. It's like finding that person, and I mean that you can just do nothing with, first off, and you them, and you
genuinely enjoy each other's company.
Yeah. Like when we go on vacation, we don't go to like, let's explore here. We go there to do nothing. Yeah, literally. So that's a huge part in it. But when push comes to shove, like when the mask thing happens in 2020, she was a big part of that too. She was like, I made a mask, she didn't want me going to the store without one. Yeah. So I made one. As I'm a designer, I just made it and said, hey, this is funny. Yeah. And she was like, you should put that online. You're going to help some people out, and it'll give you something to do in a couple weeks for the next 2 weeks of this lockdown, not knowing what COVID was. And I was like, okay, cool. So, we put one out, and we just released it. And next thing you know, we went from just releasing it to selling 100, then 300, then 1,000, then 2,000 in every day. And so we're making these in our garage, and she's helping, I'm going, my brother's helping, and we're fulfilling it. We're doing everything in our garage until like probably about 5 days in, I'm like, we're at a point where I need to talk to my manufacturers, and all of them said no, except for one. And we said, okay, well, if you're down, I'm down. Let's go. Yeah. So we started up selling like, 6,600 to 7,000 a day. But not only that, we gave out like, I think it was like 30 or 40,000 to local fire departments and all this stuff. And, it was a gnarly time. Talk about no sleep, but she was there. She was there every day. She helped where she needed to, and wanted to, and figuring things out and trying to make it work. So that's kind of like the partnership,
Gotcha, yeah.
And then I'm the same way. Whenever she needs any kind of support or anything like that, or help with organizing like live events that she does keynotes all over the place, and everything like that. And I'm on the back end, where I can, doing admin stuff and
that's awesome.
Working it out. So it's a partnership.
Yeah, that's awesome, because you need that. Especially, man, entrepreneurs that are like trying to do things by themselves and isolated or whatever like that. As somebody that's kind of had to deal with I made the mistake of trying to do that before. Like, oh no, I got this. I got this. And then you don't realize the burden, or I call it a burden that gets lifted from you. Yeah. That when your significant other can come in and help carry that for you. Yep. And when you approach things together, and like you said, she had her struggles and different things like that. A bunch of things that she's learned from, and things, the way that she's grown and become such a influential and strong person for people to kind of look up to. Now, basically taking that entire situation and flipping it to now it's like, hey, now people look at her in a completely different light. But that experience now can help her elevate you, help you guys with your daughter, and everything else. It's like you never know why you go through things in life, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, cool. You didn't know what was making you.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple things to it. It's like, first off, she was able to take her mess and turn it into her message, which is great. She's now almost 19 years sober and everything, which is awesome. And it's really like, when you can support, to your point, when you can have someone that's there to support you, it's like you fight things together, and then the sky's not the limit. It's just the beginning. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's the thing. It's like being together and finding the right connection, and
Exactly.
But a lot of things, as you said, a lot of things will happen to everybody. We all go through stuff. It's
100%.
not what we go through. It's what we do and the response to it.
Exactly. What is that saying? It's not how many times you fall down, but it's how many times you decide to get back up.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to keep fighting.
Yeah,
keep fighting through all of that. So on the topic of Ghost Circus merchandise, right?
Yes.
And you're helping out these other brands and kind of taking things, taking people's visions and making them become reality.
Yeah.
Taking them to things that they probably never have seen or even thought that they could do.
Yeah.
How does that feel to work and be able to partner? And how does that whole process work? Does somebody come to you and say, "Hey, Eli, I need your help, man"?
Yeah.
Or how does that work for you guys?
Well, it comes from all sorts of places, and a lot of word of mouth too, but a lot of, because we're in the game for a long time, and the process and what we do, but we care. Like, we are artist company for artists. So basically, the company started from an artist, obviously, but most of our employees are artists in their own right, whether it's designers or dancers or musicians, or we're all like a group of artists trying to make a common purpose come to life. Right. And it's a big thing, but also we're not we are a business. We have to run it as a business, but we're not just a business. It's more like, we're going to advise certain clients to do certain things. Like, maybe you shouldn't order 200 of those hats. Yeah. Let's just order 100 of them, and see how it goes, or do a pre-order, see how it goes, and really advise to them things where they're not just coming out of pocket. Whereas other companies, I've heard many stories that it's like, are you sure you want to do 200? We can do 300. Let's go ahead and do 300. You'll get a better price. And they push the sale of that a few bucks just to get that sale, where I'm a long-term thinker. If I did that to every one of our customers 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the road, are they going to reorder? Are they scared to even talk to us because we're just sales guys? Or is it like, hey, this is a slow process. Let's take it step by step, and let's help guide you to get from point A to point B all the way to point Z. Right. Like, that's what I did. That's my experience. That's what I lived through. I want to tell you and show you and guide you along the ways of, like, wait, be careful here. You're kind of it's guiding. So a lot of companies don't offer that as truism as it should. Right. They just go, okay, let's take the order. Are you sure you don't want to get more? But like, we don't have the time. Let's go. Like, pay now.
Focus on that sales aspect of it more and more.
Which is fine. I get it. It is business. I understand it. But we don't. We focus on product quality and the vision for the customer, our client moving forward. And let's talk about 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, and on. And so it's a building of a relationship.
No, I get that. That's good. Because that genuine approach, I feel like that's less. I don't want to say this word because some people don't like to. I don't know, but it's less predatory. Yes. The predatory nature of finding somebody in a position, and it's like you're stuck on the bottom line, and people always get kind of caught up in how much money they can make right now, rather than the long-term vision of things. And it's like, nah, I don't like to approach business like that. Yeah. It's like, hey, if I need to, so like for me, the way I do things is like, hey, we have there's a certain threshold that I need to obviously cover operating costs and all that kind of stuff when it comes to getting things done. But if somebody was like, all right, man, I really need help to do this, I'll take the risk, depending on what it is and depending on who it is. I may take the risk and say, okay, we're going to work with you on this project on a little bit longer, and take advantage of or take the opportunity to do more coaching and kind of build things out. Especially if somebody has a passion for something, but they may not be able to meet. They haven't realized it quite yet what it is. When it comes to when it comes to dealing with or your experience in the merchandise game, right? The clothing, for yourself and taking that to that next level. And then now you're working with the other brands. You've learned a lot. You've been through a lot. Yeah. You've seen different ins and outs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So you're probably one of the best people to ask for advice on this situation. If I was, let's say, Antoine decided I want to launch Icon Presents merchandise for it, right? What is it, one of those things that you see people struggle with so often when they're first starting off?
That's a great question. A lot of people, especially on Instagram and Facebook and all of them, it's like it's the quick, what is it? Get rich quick stuff. Like, oh, all you have to do is do this and just, post about it on TikTok and, you'll make $10,000 a month. It's like, okay, well, first off, if you do get lucky enough to make $10,000 a month, there's a tremendous amount of cost in that. There's overhead. There's there's not only that, it's you got to constantly be releasing, constantly doing it. And so, I slowly but surely start off small. Even if you're like, I have a big podcast and we want to sell, merchandise. That's great. That's awesome. Do you have any sales data?
Right.
Have you done it before? What's your sales data in the last year? What about the last 6 months? What's going on? What have you done before? What are you planning to do? Like the collection shouldn't be 25 items that a lot of people are like, I want to build this collection. Here's 75 items. You're like, okay, well, let's start with 4. And we should start with 3, but let's start with 4. And they're like, yeah, but I have 25. I'm like, I get it, but you're gonna break the bank before you know if it's gonna sell anything.
I get you.
And you're not only that. I was selling stuff out of my car. Like I buy one-off items at a time before I got comfortable enough to go, okay, let me release this. I'm going to do 24 and let's see how it sells. Let's put a little bit of ad money behind it and those things. And like just it's a slow build. So the merchandising game, brand game is a long road. I mean, I do have friends like Hellstar where it took off quick.
Okay.
And it was awesome. And it's amazing for them. And they're wheeling and dealing and all that, but they're the 1 in a million.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Do you see anything that like separates the like somebody that was started off? Let's say everybody was starting off with like maybe everybody started off with 100 customers, potential customers, right? If me and another person had 100 potential customers,
okay.
And I started off, I take my approach, and let's use Jamie because that's the name that popped in my head right now. She starts off with her approach, right? And her approach, for whatever reason, she sells the like 10 times. Actually, I'm gonna go with Shane because girls will be easier to sell for.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna unbalance the scale right off the bat. But let's use Shane. Shane says, "Okay, I'm gonna sell." He starts to sell. His sales are a lot higher than mine. And going through that approach. What do you think it is that separates those people with their approach, like with mentality? Obviously, it's going to be unique to however somebody did it.
Yeah.
But do you see like a common thing that somebody's like, okay?
There's no blueprint. No, because I mean, if there's a blueprint, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, even if you put a 10-year goal out there and a plan of action and a business plan and do all that, your first day, you'll need to go left.
Yeah, true.
So all that is out the window. It really depends too. In that example is like, is it the same brand? It's just 2 different outlets pushing the same brand. Or is it a different brand and his is winning and yours is not? And then you go, okay, well, in that brand, what's the communication behind it? What's the flow behind it? If people land on the website, are they getting retargeted emails and things like that? Did they subscribe or not? Do they have your flows set up? Like, there's a lot on the back end.
So when it comes to that, in which I understand 100%, the point that I was getting, wanted to kind of address in that was kind of to go off of your knowledge for this type of thing, because I think it's very interesting how, unless I'm mistaken, did you have a background? Like, obviously you had a background in sales.
Yep.
For that, but did you study fashion design?
0. Did
you study marketing?
0.
See, exactly. So
0.
It's like that 0. is the thing where it's
I was like fish out of water real quick.
Yeah.
That's me.
Exactly.
And then I had to find my way back to water.
Yeah, man. And that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how much YouTube University have you subscribed to?
Well, that's a funny thing, because when I first started, it wasn't like I'm jumping on YouTube and how do I cut and sew? It was like, no, like I'm going to go get some fabric that I like. I'm just going to start creating. These are the kind of pants I like. They look like shit.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, I didn't know the direction of fabric was different. So I'm cutting it all out and it's all like that or whatever. And, I had to learn the hard way. Luckily, I had a friend who was a fashion designer. And when I got the getting stuff done for Ellen DeGeneres, I went straight to her. I was like, look.
What did you do for Ellen? I'm trying to
2 pair of pants, which is weird because they were drop crotch pants. pants.
Okay.
Her hairstylist, great person. She at the time was getting some.
Ellen, not so much, but go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But she was wearing my pants and she did her hair, and so she was like, "Oh, where do you get those?" And it was like, "Well, these are the most comfortable pair of pants." And there was some drop crotch, kind of like yoga pants ish, very Japanese influenced and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'd love a pair. And so the stylist hit me up, and I'm like, well, what size is she? And she's like, just make the same size as you did. I'm like, for Lainey or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I did, and I send it in, and obviously Ellen gets like a million things. Okay. Like walk through a room on your way to work and there's gifts everywhere. Okay. And apparently those are the only two things she grabbed out of the whole thing. It's like the pair of pants. I was like, oh, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, she on stage or in the public, I guess she wears certain things.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, it's like, let me be comfortable.
Okay,
let me
like, I'm just like, I'm trying to picture Ellen in your attire.
Yeah.
I was like, I just can't get that.
It. Yeah. But and then from that to the Marilyn Manson stuff, and like even with Josh Dunn, 21 Pilots, no doubt, and that's Adrian Young, and Frank Sumo from Sum 41. They're all everybody's all different, but with a little bit of Ghost Circus flair, or I guess my designing, it all makes sense. But yeah, going back to that story is I went to her and said, you can't be my friend. Tear me a new one if I'm doing it wrong. And she looked at everything. She's like, well, first off, this is dope. But yeah, I would just make sure you tack it here so it doesn't come apart. Do this, and other than that, just keep going. Now she works at she's a teacher at FITM.
Oh wow,
yeah,
cool.
So I'm
awesome.
like, okay,
that's awesome. Yeah, you made it. So when it comes to doing these projects with celebrities, right?
Yeah,
and kind of taking that approach to consulting and doing that kind of thing, how that looks for them. And now you got the Ellens, you got all these different. Excuse me. All these people that you've worked with. Do you have anything that's like you're like, oh my gosh? Do you ever have a moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe now I'm in this position?
Every day, every day on a drive in the morning. I have a gratitude journal I write every morning.
Yeah.
Every day it's like coming from where I came from. So I don't want to go on too long of stories, but my mom was in and out of prison like more than 75% of her life.
Okay.
Kind of deal. So major drug, manufacturing, body trafficking, in and out of prisons. Putting her own children up to men so she can get the next one. Not good stuff. Like I'm talking very far left, right? Yeah. So I come from that, and then my dad was complete opposite. He was an artist, positive, so it's interesting. And at a moment in time in my life, you go, well, I could go this way or I can go that way. And it wasn't really a conscious decision, but it just happened where I'm like, my dad, I think I can survive that way. Okay. And so it was a coping mechanism, having that positive attitude and positive outlook. And so my thought process is very grossly positive.
I got you.
The more positive you are, the more positive things come.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
I get it. You take that approach to life. Otherwise, if you're sitting there with negativity and being so pessimistic, your outlook on life is just going to attract so much of that.
It'll attract it.
It's like,
you think you're a winner and you really believe it, you're going to win. You think you're lucky, you're going to win. If you think, oh man, all this stuff has always happened to me. Yeah. Like, why did you ever have a ticket? You get a ticket and you're like, man, not another one.
Yeah.
And then another one comes and another one comes. And I'm like, okay, hold on. I'm done with that.
Right.
I don't do that anymore. And then all of a sudden you don't have it, maybe every once in a while. But if you're constantly thinking of the negative or the bad side, or an experience happens to you, but I go down the bad, like the negative route, then it's going to continue to make that negative route. Like when I blew out my knee, my whole dream was being the NFL.
Yeah.
Blew out my knee. If I took the negative route, it would have been a whole other path. But I was like, okay, I understand that this is happening. Maybe this is not my time right now.
Yeah.
So let me dive into something else. And I learned a lot from that. I learned a tremendous amount. Same thing with acting, same thing with sales, same thing with music, same thing with fashion. So we all have those experiences, but if you look at something as to be negative, it'll be negative. If you look at the same thing to be positive, it'll have a positive effect on you.
I cannot agree more.
Yeah.
I cannot agree more. Well, I think that's almost a good point to wrap it up.
Yeah.
You want to leave anything with the people?
Love you. Thank you thank you for having me here and supporting in any way that you can too, and having the platform for everybody else to learn and understand, like with
100%, man. Connecting with creatives from various fields. This is why I left when I created this podcast, and I was like, I want it to be open. Somebody asked me, "Do you just want to focus on music?" No. Do you just want to focus on comics? No. Do you want to just focus on actors? No. I want to focus on creativity.
Yeah.
Because in that, you never know who you meet. There's there's so much opportunity for lessons and just inspiration for so many people.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Where can people find you?
Right here. No. Yeah. All Instagram, Facebook, if you go to ghostcircusapparel.com or ghostcircusmerch.com too, it'll all take you there. And if you're a band or an artist or an influencer or a company and you're needing merchandising needs, just let us know.
Yeah, with the type of clientele that we have that comes through here, you'll definitely be getting hit up.
Oh, sweet. Sounds good.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Icon Presents Podcast. Be sure to visit iconpresentspodcast.com. Keep up for special events, or keep up and look out for special events, special announcements, exclusive invites, and we just have so many things coming up. We got conventions and concerts and all that kind of stuff that we're doing, and it's just going to be so much fun keeping up with creatives and getting sneak peeks on behind the scenes content. So with that being said, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all take care.